So today we're gonna compare two TVs. One is TCL C63, 55 inches. On the low end, on the high end, we have a LG C1. And we're gonna see how we compare both on performance specifications, some high-level features of TCL, just if you're not aware. So in terms of like HDR, it supports HDR. It has around 500 nits. For dimming, it doesn't have much. It's just micro. It doesn't have local dimming, but it has micro dimming, which is sort of not the same thing, and it doesn't work as well. But you can see that it tries to do some black levels. On the LG side, the need any dimming. It's OLED. It has a great contrast, and also it has 120 Hz. With TCL doesn't have 120 Hz on 4K, but it does have some sort of technology called DLG, which tries to like change the amount of frame rates in terms of like the TV simulates by reducing the resolution. So first we're gonna compare some movies content, and then I'll go to show individual gamings. So I don't have two PS5 consoles, but at least we can compare one each. So let's begin. So right over gate you can see the image difference. The C1 has a much more brighter and richer color palette compared to the C63. Is a little bit more downscaled, and the brightness is actually lower on the LCD one because well, it's all over budget, but it's quite a different. It's not that much lower. Now let's see how it works in motion. Alright, got a little bit more forward. So here it's in sync, and you see motion wise actually the TCL is actually working pretty good. When I was using it for around a week, I didn't had any specific issues in terms of like seeing jitter in movies, and we have like a setting that you can adjust for how much you want motion smoothness, which kind of works quite well. But as you can see here, the motion is quite good on both TVs, but the color scheme, the contrast is definitely a big win on the C1. And I guess you could say the TCL has a little bit more realistic colors, where in the C1 it's more like packed, so with richness. It's more like a nicer look. Now for a second example, let's see like a demo, and here you can clearly see the amount of difference in blackness. The LCD I just cannot compare in this case, so it's you can see that the brightness is much more washed when you have like a content which is very black in nature. Of course you don't really have that much content that is usually uses so much blacks, but in this case it's a good example for like a contrast changes. Now let's see something else, a little bit more simple. I like animation, so you can also see how controls work. Actually it's a little bit, I find it's a little bit more fiddly on the TCL, because it is a sort of like a Google TV, so it has I would say, even more features than the C1, but in terms of like a convenience, it's a little bit more fiddly. Kind of have to do more actions. Also, what I find that it's sometimes gets a bit more laggy, so you don't get a, can be not frustrating, but kind of have to wait a little bit. Like here, I'm trying to go down and it doesn't show me the slider for some reason. Okay, I got finally synced. So you can see it's even for like animations. Again, the colors are a little bit better, more richer on the C1. Okay, and let's see our final example. Now this is a show that has using more like a handheld camera. So you can see here that it's really shows a difference. Also, for some reason on the TCL it stretches out the wrong aspect ratio for some reason. So now we can compare a little bit the gaming experience just to see how it looks. So first, maybe you want to check the settings. So we have everything enabled. We're gonna test the DLG, which is supposed to be increase the frame rate by default by reducing resolution. It's not really that obvious to set it, so I'll just show you the settings. So we go to picture and we have to go to advanced settings, motion, and it's like here, so it's enabled. Also, we enable all game, extra game settings. So my game master, to make sure that it's enabled, auto latency and variable refresh rate. But to be honest, it's only very few games that I even don't have any that support this right now for PS5. And 120 Hz is supposedly supported in Doom Eternal, but because the TV doesn't support like 4K 120 Hz, so for that we use this DLG, and supposedly it should show like smoother experience. I will compare with DLG and without DLG how it looks. So basically, let's say the motion is quite good even on 60 FPS. And there's a very few games that support 120 right now. So when I was looking for TV, I wanted this just to try, but I forgot how to play this game. But as you can see here that but I found out finally really only almost no games support 120 Hz, but maybe that's gonna change in future. So that's with DLG enabled. Let's see without DLG if you can find any difference. But actually the gaming experience is where with TCL I think does its best out of all features. I used both with C1 and TCL, and I can say when you're kind of immersed in the experience, you don't really see much difference after a while. Maybe if you compare now them differently, it will be, we will have some difference when we switch to C1. So if I changed, remove DLG, let's see what happens. It's always hard to kind of compare these things on video. Because how you see without video and in video, it's like you cannot see all the details how it performs. I don't know, so yeah, it looks maybe a little bit less smooth. When I compare to, let's see, moving here, let's enable it again. It's always difficult to find this like motion, not the motion, the menus are, I mean, it does seem like it does have some effect at least. It calculates. So yeah, you can judge yourself if you see any difference. But that's I haven't seen any examples on YouTube for showing this setting, so now you can judge yourself if it's worth for you. Alright, let's check another game. You can actually, for curiosity, see if you switch to 2K, will we see 120 Hz? Like, I know it supports it because I tested it on PS5. Okay, let's see, sound system. Automatic. Screen and video output. So, if you switch to 140/40K, okay, to set it off, doesn't support variable refresh rate. And the thing is that if you want 120 Hz, PS5 doesn't allow you to change it, set it. So supposedly managed by games. So if Doom is the only game I have that supposedly should support it, but doesn't seem like it. At least the TV shows still 60. So how another game looks, doesn't have 120 Hz for sure, but in terms of like brightness and colors, it's actually pretty good. I don't know, maybe played like 5 to 6 hours on this TV, and I haven't really noticed any kind of color bandings or like motion blur problems. So I find it, yeah, actually for gaming it seems to be performing pretty well. As you can see here, of course this one is not like a fast game, but in terms of richness, yeah, it's doing pretty well. Even in action consequences. You don't see any like blur. Alright, so I think that's kind of should get an impression how it looks for gaming. Now let's compare that to C1. Now let's take a look at the C1. You can see this is my kind of game optimizer settings. It's nothing special, also 20 FPS. It's set to RPG mode. Maybe it has a little bit more, emphasizing more on the black levels. So I can see the color scheme is a little bit better, and the darkness that's noticeable. But I can't say that it's like totally like wow change. What to say? I mean, it depends really on the content. I think the content has more impact than the TV itself. But in this case, there is some slight difference. So let's try to find some motion examples. All right. So it's definitely a little bit more clear, more sharp imaging, yes. As you can see, some richness. But once you kind of get into the game, it's like you don't really notice as much of a difference after a while. So yeah, hope it kind of comes in the video. Let's see another example. So let's try the Doom. Well, C1 supposedly support 4K on 120 Hz. So I wonder if it will detect automatically actually. I haven't actually even tried this yet, so let's see what the settings gonna show. It's still 60. I didn't saw any option to set it in the Doom settings, video settings. Supposedly changes automatically. Okay, 1 second. So finally got the Doom working. It seems like sometimes the connection kind of slows down. We're loading so much that you have to wait like 3 minutes to load. It's a bit annoying. Anyway, as you can see here, that it's still 60 FPS for some reason. Very strange. And yeah, there's no way to change it, so I will just gonna show you again how the gameplay looks in this case. Let's see. So you can compare like with our video from TCL. So maybe it looks a little bit more like contrasted, a little bit better, but as I mentioned before, like once you get the content, once you get into the content, it doesn't seem like makes that much of a difference. So yeah. Yeah, there's no blur, and yeah, the colors look fairly nice. I set FPS mode here, and yeah, I think yeah, that's more or less it. So you might be wondering which TV might be worth to buy, given the TCL 35 or C63. It's quite affordable. I mean, for that price, I got it like for on a discount, so around like for a little bit more than 400 euros. It's really a steal, and if you mostly do gaming, it might be like very quite an affordable option. But if you also like more content and you value the contrast more, C1 might be a better option, but it comes with like a double price tag, even right now. So I mean, and if you compare like the gaming features like 120 hertz, etc., and the VR, I don't think that really matters much, as you can see in my examples. So it's a matter of kind of choice and I guess personal preference. Uh, there is also some downsides, or less that we might have a burn-in, but I think that was more like a risk for older models. So yeah, and also theoretically, the DLG also has some impact for improving the like refresh rate, but as of right now, at this moment, it doesn't seem to be that kind of huge effect on gaming experience. So yeah, it's up to you. Save money or have better like contrast. I guess that's the choice. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on our side.